Welcome to our podcast that has no name yet. I am Matt.
I'm Kendall.
And today we are going to be talking about Stranger Things, but on this podcast in general, we're going to talk about film, TV, our favorite movies and shows, theories, breakdowns, opinions, maybe some hot takes. And yeah, that's about it. So we both watched Stranger Things Season 5, Volume 2 on Christmas and have some opinions about that we are going to get into. And they're very negative, a lot of them. So, do you want to start?
Yeah.
With some of yours?
Yeah. I mean, I think that in general, Volume 2, I was really excited for it because of how much I really enjoyed Volume 1. Mm-hmm. And then Volume 2 disappointed me a lot. Mm-hmm. And I think there's a lot of reasons for that. My main issue with it is that they're trying to wrap up this show and the episodes aren't really that long. They're only an hour.
Hour 6, hour 8, and an hour
like 16 or something.
Something like that.
So they're not very long. And so they don't have a lot of time to actually wrap up the show. And then what they have been doing hasn't been utilizing that time, in my opinion. We've been getting a lot of monologues.
A lot of exposition dumps.
A lot of exposition dumps, not a whole lot of resolution. And there's a lot of characters in the show, and I don't think that every single character is going to get a resolution that would do them justice. And that's like my main concern with how Volume 2 has been going so far.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like there's too many characters in the show?
Maybe at this point. I think that bringing in characters and making them more important in this season was not a smart idea. Mm-hmm. So not that Erica hasn't been an important character in the past, but I do think that it is almost like, I don't know if we need that much with Erica. I don't think we need that much with, I love Robin, but I think Robin has been getting way too much screen time this season. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there's too many characters, but I think we've been focusing a lot on characters that aren't really the main characters. Because even like, I really like Holly, and I think she's been such a highlight of this season.
Yes.
But she's relatively a newer character, even though she's been around. This is the first time that she actually has any sort of character, character development of
literal
any sort.
Lines of dialogue.
And most of the season has been a lot of Holly, which I think takes away from some of the other main characters that I think we're missing, like Mike.
Yes, I think my opinions on Mike. Mike was a wooden board. All of Volume 2. I was super excited that in Volume 1 we had gotten Mike the Leader Wheeler. That's what I call him in those videos that I make. And I was excited that we had him back. And then it felt like right after he had that hug with Will, pretty much right after that, Will goes unconscious later, and there's nothing. Yeah. There's nothing from him. There's no substance. And now we're going into the finale, and I feel like he's not going to be adequately fleshed out because there's not enough time. That's a worry. I have a theory that I literally just posted about how he could. However, I just don't have faith that it'll happen. With Robin, I agree. I really loved her in Volume 1. And we've talked a bit about that. I really liked the way they had her character help Will's character arc. Yeah. It felt right. My thing was that I didn't have an issue with Robin having a lot of screen time. I had an issue with how it took away from other characters' screen time. That's why when the episodes were originally leaked, the runtimes were leaked, and they were a lot longer. I think it was like an hour
45 for
hour
each
45.
Of them, yeah.
There was, I think the bridge was an hour 58 in the leak. Yeah. And with that, I felt more comfortable and confident in their ability to bring everyone's character arc to a close. Yeah. And Robin's added screen time for me would have worked really well if we had longer runtime and got more with Steve, with Dustin, with Mike, with Will, even in Volume 2, with 11 especially. I'm sorry, we'll get into that. Terribly written. Yeah. Terribly written. And I feel like Millie knows that or
Oh,
knew
she
that because
100%
her
does.
performance is astonishingly worse than previous seasons, and she is not a bad actor.
Yeah.
She's talented. She's a great performer. So, and I know we got things with Steve and Dustin that were great. It was one of the highlights of Volume 2 for me, but the problem is that Volume 1 Steve barely any screen time. And in all of his screen time, he was either bickering with Jonathan or bickering with Dustin.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, we do get this really beautiful emotional arc with him. But it felt like it felt like two different shows from Volume 1 to Volume 2. There wasn't a nice, clean transition between it for me.
Yeah.
And so that's a lot of rambling to say. I just wish the run times had been longer so that we got more from characters. It felt like a lot of characters not only didn't get enough time, but they almost not only regressed, but they didn't. I'm trying to think of the words here. They were acting out of character.
Yeah.
Also, to me, at least. So I don't know. I mean, that is a big concern that I had, and that's a reason why I'm super concerned for the finale, because if the pattern continues with how they've handled the episodes, where there is a lot of slow exposition, where it does feel like that rumor, and this is total speculation. I'm not sure if you've heard of this. There is a rumor that Netflix has a mandate to have a lot of exposition so that people who are literally like scrolling, let's say, on their phones while having a Netflix show on can be constantly caught up with what is going on. It's rumor territory, but it also makes sense. It feels like they're constantly telling me
What's happening and what has
and
happened.
not showing
Yeah.
me. And it's so slow.
I think if they would have kept to what was leaked with the original runtimes, it wouldn't feel so bad.
No.
But when you're giving us an hour-long episode and you have like a 5-minute long monologue from Robin, it doesn't feel like it's really doing much for the story. And my biggest concern is with Volume 2 is I don't think the story progressed anywhere for me. I feel no more clear on where they're going than I did at the end of Volume 1. I actually think I felt more clear about where they were going at the end of Volume 1, and then Volume 2, they just didn't really do much with it, and now we're all relying on 1 2-hour-long episode to hopefully wrap everything up. And it's not even going to be a full 2 hours of our true story and our true characters. And so I think that is where I'm really concerned and where a lot of it just wasn't working for me this season.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you said about that. It does feel like it essentially feels like Volume 2 was about Max being rescued.
Yeah.
Max returning to her physical body, which to me could have been done quicker. It didn't need to go as slow as it was. I had assumed originally that Escape from Camazotz was going to be pretty much purely dedicated to the Max plot and Henry's backstory, which is the most frustrating thing for me. Out of everything, there's a lot that I disliked. There's a lot of hot takes that I have. I know it's not a hot take to say this. Henry's backstory should have happened in that episode.
For sure. There's no reason they shouldn't have just included it there.
Yes. It's the episode about being inside of his mind.
Yeah.
It's the only episode about that. I know Eleven and Kali and maybe Will are going to return to his mind. That's a part of their plan. I feel like it would have been more effective and also given Max more importance to the plot if she came out of Camazotz and had crucial information about him. But instead, all we get is her saying, well, there was this memory with this cave. I think he's afraid of it. That's it. She doesn't know anything.
Well, and now it's like, where is her character gonna go?
She's in a wheelchair.
She can't do anything And so it's almost like, what are they even going to do with Max's character? She can't help with a final battle if she's stuck in a wheelchair. And she's not even in Henry's mind. So what is she actually going to contribute to the finale, you know?
I have no idea.
And that bothers me because Max is one of my favorite characters. And I don't think that makes a lot of sense to me. I 100% think that they needed to just, like you're saying, show Henry's backstory in the cave then. Don't do it before, we actually get into the rest of the plot in the season finale. I don't think that is necessary.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that in general, they didn't write it in a way that felt thought out to each character, is how I feel.
I agree. Despite the fact that they keep saying in interviews, we knew exactly where all of this was going since season 1. Yeah. And I don't feel that. And I agree with Max. I have no idea. I have no clue now what she's going to do. And also, sorry, just a random flow state thought. Why is she not blind?
Yeah. No, actually.
Her eyes, she was blinded.
Yeah.
She
couldn't see anything.
No. Yeah. What?
That's
what
actually,
happened?
I didn't even think about that. That is a great point.
That makes no sense. She should be blind.
No, she should be. She couldn't see anything.
Just forgot about that.
Yeah.
Kind of like they forgot about how Max has no idea that Hopper's alive. But I guess we forgot about that too.
And also, Eleven's entire reaction to her best friend
It was terrible.
Coming out of the coma is just like, oh, hey.
I would be so mad if I was Max. But also, Max's reaction as well.
Yeah.
I feel like Max knows that 11 revived her. I feel like I'd assume she would know. Maybe she doesn't, but that's the only reason she's alive, is because 11 literally started her heart back up. And it was really underwhelming. It was strange. Her and Will even, I could be wrong, but I don't remember her and Will having some deep connection where they've had a lot of interactions, because I'm not talking about after the coming out scene where Max wants a hug, but she wants to hug him, but she can't stand up. I'm talking about when they all reunite at WSQK and Will and Max have like this big reunion moment. I do know that she knows that Will was part of saving her with the Vecna moment.
Yeah.
It still felt like it felt like a friendship that has had no prior development. That, to me, it felt strange. To me, that would feel the same, not quite the same, but similar to if you had Murray go and hug Max like that. Yeah. And because they have had no prior friendship.
Yeah.
They've had no prior dynamic. So, and then with what you were saying, though, in general, with like her role, for example, in the finale, like, I don't know what she's going to do. I don't know what role she would serve, because I don't think she went with them to the Upside Down, right? She's not in that car or the truck.
No.
Yeah.
No. I think overall I have a bad, I guess, feeling about how Volume 2 ended and where it's going to go. Mm-hmm. There were, like you're saying, there were some really good parts. Mm-hmm. The Steve and Dustin is obviously great.
It was fantastic.
I'll talk about a part that I at first loved and then turned to hate was Jonathan and Nancy.
Yeah.
I really don't like that scene. When I was watching it, I was like, oh, wow, they're going to kill Jonathan and Nancy. And they had this really emotional scene, and they came clean about all of the things that they had been holding on to for all of these seasons that we've watched them in their relationship. And then all of a sudden, for no reason, the sludge just becomes solid, and they're fine. And it honestly ruined the moment for me. I think it would have been way more impactful had they killed them, which it's not like I want them to necessarily die in the series. I mean, maybe Jonathan.
I want somebody to die. I'm sorry. Like, I'm in that camp. I want somebody to die.
Well, because that's also what they told us. You wouldn't feel as strongly of like, I want someone to die if they hadn't hyped this up of
it's going to be
all
the
these characters.
Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't that dark?
What was dark about it?
No
one died.
It wasn't dark to me.
Yeah.
I think Volume 1 was darker.
No, I agree for sure.
Seeing Karen get slashed like that.
Yeah,
and
100%.
Ted, also, where's Ted?
Yeah.
I know he's not a main character, but Did we just forget about his entire existence? Because nobody has even said that man's name. They've talked about Karen in the hospital.
Yeah. Oh no, Ted, whatever. And but that's what
Whatever.
I'm like. Why not just kill him at that point? You know, I just don't understand. If you're gonna
Right.
tell people it's gonna be dark, they're gonna have characters die. That's what everyone's going in with, and then you haven't had a single character die. Then don't, I don't know. Then don't hype it up because that's what everyone wants now. Everyone in every single episode I watched of season 5, I was waiting for someone to die. Was like anxious about it, and I'm like worried about Steve, and I'm worried about Dustin, and I'm worried about Mike and Will and like all these people that I don't want to die because I love them as characters. But then it's like, oh, no one's dying. Where is this emotional moment that they keep saying? Also, saying that saying
I know what you're
that
gonna say.
saying that Mike's character is they asked Finn to hold a lot of emotional weight this
Did
season.
he say no? I've been loving that meme.
Did he say no?
Nah, I'm not gonna do that.
I think he had to have said no. What?
Or the meme people commenting the weight in question, it's a feather. Like people have been commenting that. Yeah. What are we talking about?
He's had nothing.
Nothing. That's the only thing that gives me any hope for the finale. And this is outside of, because we'll get into it, the Byler
Yeah.
conversation, is that they did say that with their full chest, and we haven't seen it. That leaves the finale, and I'll get into one of my theories about that, the one that I posted at the point of this video going out. I'll have posted it. But I don't know. I don't understand. It's so weird. The whole thing is so weird to me.
Yeah.
It's especially weird when they came out and said they had a fear of having the final season be reminiscent of Game of Thrones. But then they read the scripts and it gave them hope. It feels...
No, it
There's
feels...
a meme also, I keep referencing memes. Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man 1, where he when he wakes up after having gotten bitten and his eyesight is fine and he has he actually can't see well with the glasses.
Yeah.
And there's a meme now going out of it shows like him with the glasses and it's blurry and it's Stranger Things season 5 and then he takes them off and it's clear and it's Game of Thrones and it's comparing the two of them, Game of Thrones
I haven't
season
seen
8.
that one.
It's really funny.
That's
really,
so
really
funny.
It's accurate.
No, it's true.
Me.
And also,
so far,
what's worrying, I don't know if you've seen this too, of people comparing the cast of Game of Thrones in the last season being interviewed and the cast of Stranger Things of this season being interviewed. When Millie's asked, do you like how your character ended? And she's like, yeah.
The facial expression she gave, it was like...
It's exactly like Amelia Clark, yeah. When she was asked, you could tell that she hated
something
it.
Wrong.
Also, another scene, we're just going on a tangent of all the things that we don't like.
That's okay.
But
it's a flow state. It's a flow state.
Another thing that I know we talked about this, I really, really didn't like was Will's coming out scene. There are many reasons that I don't like it. But one thing that I literally saw today was Noah Schnapp talking about that scene and saying that it was a press conference.
Yep.
And that's exactly what it was. And you can tell that Noah, who is an actual like gay actor,
who also I believe came out after season 4.
Yeah.
So recently.
And he talked about how this is like really personal to him because he actually experienced this, doesn't like what they did. That should tell you all that you need to know about how bad that scene actually is. It doesn't make any sense. One, the writing was horrible. The
Disney Channel vibes.
The Me Too. It is Disney Channel vibes.
It could have been better.
It could have been better. And why are we having a bunch of random ass characters sitting in Will's coming out scene? That is a very personal moment.
Yeah.
That is clearly the hardest thing that he's had to do. And you have literally, I'm pretty sure Murray was there.
Murray was there. Everyone was there.
Everyone
I
was
think Mr.
there.
Clark is in the room.
Mr. Clark is in the room. Collie's
who
there.
doesn't even know Will, really.
That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. I think had it just been like Joyce and Jonathan or Joyce and Mike, something like that, where it's an actual intimate moment where he's telling people that are the most important to him that he's coming out and,
Yes.
I think that is way more impactful than having a press conference.
Yep.
Also, than to have it be just like a cheesy moment where everyone's like, you won't lose me either. That's not, in my opinion, how it should have gone.
I agree. I also feel like I said this in my initial reaction where I did say I can't relate to that experience.
Yeah.
So maybe I just don't understand. I said that in the video. All the comments, people appreciated me saying that about how maybe I don't understand, because it is true that I can't personally put myself in those shoes. Every single one of the people then followed up by saying, no, it was horrendous. It was terrible.
Right. And
it was almost offensively bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I can't relate to it either, which is why it's like Noah Schnapp can. And Noah Schnapp is making comments about how he didn't like that scene.
Yeah.
So it should show you that it's, I don't know, it just wasn't done well. Yeah. And I have a really big problem with that scene. And that to me makes me, and that was like this big reveal at the end of volume 2. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it did that much for Will's character. So.
I can agree. I think also it just felt rushed. It felt almost like an afterthought to me. When I was watching it, in real time when I was watching it, I felt like I paused the show because I sensed what was about to happen.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be him and Joyce. And then Mike walks in the room. I paused it to see how much runtime was left. And I think it was something in the ballpark of 10 minutes. Immediately, red flag. I was like, 10 minutes? You're getting into this right now. Mm-hmm. This feels like this should be maybe an intimate conversation between him and Joyce, and then maybe a conversation between him and the main party. That's where Mike learns about his sexuality, and then maybe him and Mike later, either in the finale or toward the end of the episode, can have the basement scene, which was heavily alluded to in the marketing and on the WSQK radio station, where they can talk about it, because they do need to talk about it. That needs to happen. And it just felt rushed. Everything you said, I couldn't have said better about everyone who was there. Made no sense. The writing was not the best. It just seemed weird to me. And then also, and I know it's a fictional show, but there is realistic elements. It's in the 80s. Realistically, if you're in a room with 20 people in the 80s, at least in my opinion, and you're coming out, I don't think it's realistic that every single person would just be like, me too.
Right.
Yes, of course, we love you. That's
Right.
probably not realistic.
Yeah.
Especially given the context of that time period. And that's sad to say. That shouldn't be the case. It shouldn't have ever been the case. But it still felt weird. And there's just so many things I don't like about it. And I think it especially irritated me learning that the Duffer Brothers originally wrote it as Will and Joyce. That's been confirmed. Yeah. And they said it wasn't working. And I wish I could know why.
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could literally sit down with them and have them explain to me what wasn't working about that. Because to me, that would have made perfect sense. And it also, let's say it was Joyce, Jonathan, and Will. That would have also perfectly paid off that scene from the end of season 4, where him and Jonathan have that really sweet moment. It's one of Jonathan's only good moments in season 4.
Yeah.
And I do understand Jonathan was the first person to go hug him. To me, it would have been more powerful if paying off that exact scene, because Jonathan made Will in that moment feel like, A, he knows.
Yeah.
And B, he knows, and he's also telling Will that he's a safe space. And then it just felt like that went nowhere.
The other one that I thought about too was, what if it was just Joyce and Will, and then Mike overheard it because he was walking out? And what if he overheard it? And then that's like, I feel like that could have been a really interesting thing to do, where then if they were going to go down the Byler route, which I don't know, but if they were going to go down that route, that to me would be an interesting, like, powerful scene where Mike overhears Will coming out and maybe does some self-reflection. Then they have like between just the two of them, have a conversation about it. And I think, again, that still to me would have been way more impactful than just, here's a room full of people that I am really close with and also people that I literally don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm going to say the thing that I'm having the hardest time.
The deepest secret.
Right. That it's like the one thing that Vecna has over him, and you're gonna tell, and that's your deepest secret. And you're gonna tell Mr. Clark. Like, I don't know. I think that that was the scene that really bothered me the most in Volume 2, just based off of the fact that I do think it was a really important moment for Will's character, and I think they kind of butchered it.
Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I mean, I fully agree. There is one, and I'll get into it. There is one potential positive that could come out of it. Not that scene in particular, but okay. So we know now. I've also heard everyone's takes and opinions on the idea of Will coming out literally because he was forced to through fear and the issues with that. There's one potential silver lining, maybe. And again, this comes into the territory of I no longer have faith in the Duffers to write something like this, but I feel like I'm cooking with this idea. So we have a scene in Volume 2 and in Volume 1. We've seen Will have a self-acceptance arc, and he faced his fears. We have seen Dustin and Steve have a similar type of arc. Obviously, there's differences, but both of them addressing their fears, addressing what they haven't been saying. Everything they've had that's buried deep down. Towards each other, they reconciled. We've had Jonathan and Nancy do the very same thing.
It's true.
Both of them addressing things they have been leaving unsaid. And I think Robin, we already got that with her.
Yeah.
So Robin's already had that. But maybe you could argue Robin finally told the truth to Vicky. So that's probably something that's off her chest. We have Max and Lucas. Lucas, I'm not really sure what his deep-rooted fears would be, but we've had some resolution with those two.
Yeah.
We've already explored Eleven's trauma in her past and her truth. There's one character who we have not explored that with, who, because Vecna preys on fears, theoretically in the final battle and the final confrontation, would be vulnerable. Whereas, with what they've established, Will may no longer be vulnerable because he has addressed all of these deep-rooted fears. He has addressed the truth. Right? Mike is a part of this final battle. Mike has not, we've never seen his perspective on anything since season 2. So if Mike is hiding deep-rooted feelings, not just for Will, I do still believe that, but in general, if Mike is not who he's truly portraying himself as, if Mike is gay and he is burying that deep down, he will not be able to bury that from Vecna in the presence of Vecna and the Mind Flayer. So there could be an interesting silver lining where in the final confrontation, we finally get to see Mike's perspective. And this is a theory I made originally for Volume 2. And then it didn't happen. But it could still happen in the finale because also a part of my Volume 2 theories was that the Vecna redemption arc would be established there. Now they've already confirmed it's happening in the finale.
Right.
Which is also stupid that they have to come out and say that. That's a side tangent. What if we see Mike essentially get attacked by Vecna and we see everything through Mike's eyes, his perspective on everything. We see his deep-rooted traumas. We see what his real feelings are. And Vecna preys on that to try to drive Will into the darkness. That's why he attacks Mike. But because Will and Vecna are connected, Will can see what Vecna sees. So if Will does see that that Mike has feelings for him, let's say, or that Mike isn't who he thought he was during all of the events of season 3, 4, and so far 5, that could pull Will back to the light, mirroring the arc with Henry and Patty from the first Shadow Play. It's a silver lining, but again, I think that gets into the territory of I'm giving the Duffers too much credit. Maybe.
Here's the thing: is I would have been like, I think that's totally possible. But again, I have lost a lot of faith in the writing because I just feel like, and something that I do think is part of why I think especially volume 2 of this season has been getting a lot of backlash is because season 4 was so good. It was so good. And so you go from season 4 to what we're getting right now, and I think that it feels really jarring in terms of the writing because season 4 writing is like peak. It's so good. And
so
now
remarkable.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Some people don't think that. And
I think it's great. But
it's my favorite season.
Yeah.
Season 1's my second favorite. It's really close.
Yeah. No, I mean season 4, like it almost, because I didn't personally like season 2 or 3 that much. Season 4 like drew me back in, especially season 2. I wasn't the biggest fan of. But season 4 was so good. And again, the use of music. Where has the music been this season? Genuinely.
The penultimate episode, Separate Ways playing. They're in the RV. It looks really tense. It's the perfect bridge into a finale that you can feel is going to be epic. You know with confidence they have set this finale up perfectly.
Yeah.
And then it's so good.
Yeah.
You have the mirroring, I believe, of there's the team that's in the RV, then you have them showing up to the Creel house. And it's so good. And then comparing that to what we just got in the penultimate episode of the entire show, not just the final season, or not just the fifth season, the whole show.
Right.
It's the penultimate episode.
Yeah. There's a lot that I'm like, well, maybe they're doing this, but I just don't know. I just don't think that anything that they could possibly, this sounds so bad, but I don't think there's anything that they could possibly do in the season finale, the series finale, that is going to have a good resolution for every single character and plotline that they have. I think that some people will probably get some good resolution with their character.
Yeah.
I think some of them will. But I think a lot of them will just be forgotten because they don't have time. They literally do not have time to wrap everything up. Okay, yes, we found out that that the Upside Down is just the bridge between the two worlds. Great. That's great. And sure, we know that, Vecna is trying to merge the two worlds.
Yeah.
That is basically all we got out of Volume 2 in terms of plot, like true plot. And I think that's where I'm really worried because I just don't know how they're going to wrap it up in a way that's going to feel satisfying to every character. And obviously not every single character needs some great resolution. Like Erica, she doesn't need resolution. Yeah, she doesn't need resolution.
Murray doesn't need resolution. Murray does need to be Bones, but he doesn't need resolution. He should die. I'm sorry. He should be Bones.
Yeah.
There's no reason for him to stay alive. He has no relationship in the show with anybody. He's just a comedic relief character. Yeah. He's an easy person
for sure.
He's an easy person to take out, to eliminate.
100%. And something else that part of the reason that I wish, like, I still believe that they will kill at least one character, maybe a couple. We'll see.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I've been saying that. But if you're going to go down that path, kill, not like a main character, but kill someone and let the audience sit on it. Because now, if they kill 11 in this last episode, it's going to be like right at the end. And you'll be sad about it. But like I feel like is more impactful if you have some sort of like death in episode 7. That would have been a cliffhanger that you're emotionally also dealing with until the release of the final episode. You know, that to me is way more impactful than just last episode, we're going to kill a bunch of people and then we'll call it a day.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know that I have faith in them to truly kill characters at this point, which sounds wild. And I do think they might kill one. I think one character might bite the dust, one main character. I just don't feel like, and I'm not necessarily saying that the kids, for example, any of them need to die. I don't think they do, especially when you consider how the show pulls a lot of inspiration from 80s movies and stories where, famously, that doesn't happen. But what you were saying earlier with Jonathan and Nancy, I agree. In that moment, at least one of them should have died.
Right.
It would have been actually like a really nice, beautiful moment if they both did.
Yeah,
together.
I agree.
Because they reconciled. Obviously, it was a breakup, apparently. Not obviously, I should say.
It wasn't obvious.
It wasn't obvious, but now that the Duffer brothers have confirmed it was a breakup.
It was a breakup.
But that would have been maybe a nice moment and also would have eliminated the plot armor because they established that this exotic matter is literally melting matter everywhere. But I guess it just melts the building matter and not actually the people. But that's not true because we see the soldiers half melted into the ground.
Yeah.
So it just magically didn't melt them. But regardless, the point is, I think they have a bad habit of not doing that with characters. I think Dr. K, of course.
Yeah.
But that doesn't, first of all, she's had no development.
Yeah.
You don't even know who she is.
Yeah.
Still,
Yeah.
which is crazy. I mean, there's no way she's that important to the plot. And so Dr. K, that I won't really care that much. Murray, I like Murray. I won't care that much. If they had actually gone through with Ted, and they should have, I wouldn't have cared that much. It was funny for the memes. But it was funny for the memes. The memes of like Ted's MVP performance as like the basketball player memes. I'm like, that's so funny to me. That's so, or the golf, what is it? From the Minions. There's like a minion that's like a golf play. I think it's from the Minions.
Yeah.
That was funny. But I feel like the shot of Dustin in the trailer where he's screaming for the finale, I think that could possibly be a fake out. I could be wrong, but what if it's just Mr. Clark? Because Mr. Clark's going on this mission.
That's true.
What if it's just like his
They brought
teacher,
in Mr. Clark just to kill him.
Just to kill him off. But what if that's the case?
No, I mean,
they've earned that reputation.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
I mean,
They've
because
earned
that's
that.
all they've done is they
Yes.
have only ever killed characters that people love, but that they introduce.
Eddie, Bob,
yeah.
new characters in that season.
Yep.
Who are not the original main characters. So I don't know.
I kind of am curious. What's the one character you're like, I would be really upset if they killed this character? And what's one character that you're like, I want them to be the person that dies?
I would be really upset if they killed Will. I would be really upset because Will's entire story has been one of trauma.
Like completely traumatic. Yeah.
Yes. And it would feel, the more I've thought about it, because there was one point when the first teaser released in May, I made a lot of different random theories with little to go off of about characters that could die, character arcs we could see, different characters going on. And I did entertain that theory for Will, as well as a Loki Season 2-esque character arc for Will, where he would have to make a sacrifice, not one where he doesn't get to live, but one where he has to remain in the bridge.
Yeah.
And I think the more I've thought about it, especially after this season, I also had this opinion in the months prior to the season releasing. I think it would be really cruel if they did that. The other one, interestingly, is actually Steve. And it's because even though I think it's a possibility, again, with that shot of Dustin, right?
Yeah.
It's a possibility. Here's the problem. And you can make this argument for a lot of characters. I love Steve a lot. That's not a hot take. Well, in some actually parts of the fan base it is. I love Steve. That's actually not why. I loved Tony Stark, and I think him dying made a lot of sense. Sorry if that's a hot take for you. I think it made sense.
No, it did make sense.
For the story. The problem with Steve is that they just reconciled him and Dustin and established that Dustin's biggest fear is repeating what happened with Eddie, but with someone who he cares about even more than Eddie, that being Steve. To have that moment in Volume 2, to have that clearly established in the dialogue and also, of course, in the performances. And Gaten's performance was insane.
Oh, it was great.
It was so good.
Yeah.
To have that happen and then to have Steve just die in the finale right after that, to me, that's also equally cruel. That's like the worst possible thing you could do. So I'd be upset at Steve. Honestly, I might even be upset about 11 if she were to, because she's also gone through a lifetime of trauma.
Yeah.
And then just to have her have to, but she is one of the main characters, the hero type of character with the superpowers. I know Will has powers, but technically it's not the same.
He's siphoning the power.
Yes. So I think I would feel the same way about 11. I think they've written themselves into a corner, ultimately, where when it comes to character deaths, Hopper would feel cheap, and I wouldn't be mad, but it would feel cheap because we've seen
twice.
Yes, and and I'm sorry. What are we going to get? A fourth Hopper speech with the same exact flashback
about
scenes?
His daughter.
It doesn't hit the same anymore. It lost its luster. It doesn't feel as impactful when you keep showing me the same redundant arc with Hopper again and again and again that should have been established and seen through in earlier seasons and was. But now we're back in the same boat where he's repeating it. So Hopper wouldn't hit. Mr. Clark, I mean, I love Mr. Clark. Everybody does. But that wouldn't be super emotionally impactful. Right. Dustin, I think, is safe. Lucas, safe because of Max. Max, safe because of what happened in season 4, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mike, safe, in my opinion. So, really, I don't think they've written themselves into a position where, at least for me as a fan, I don't think there's either character deaths that I would be really angry about, literally, not because of personal feelings towards the characters, because it would be cruel for their arcs, and it wouldn't be the right type of decision to make, in my opinion. Or there's character deaths where
it's like, really, that's
it. Yeah. So they're like in a weird position for me.
I think that if they, I mean, my number one is I don't want Steve to die.
You love Steve.
I love Steve. I'm a Steve stan. Mm-hmm. And I also feel that way about Dustin. I don't want either of them to die. Those are like my two characters that I feel strongly that I like just because I like them as characters. I agree though with Will and with 11. It would be pretty cruel to kill them because they've both had pretty traumatic lives.
Yeah.
And then it's like, we're going to kill you guys now. That would feel pretty unfair to them as characters. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that they'll kill Max or Lucas. Like, I don't really see that, but I could see them maybe killing Joyce. And I feel like that could be, I wouldn't hate it if they did it because I feel like that's a main character that would be definitely very hard and like emotionally hitting for the audience. But it's also not someone that necessarily be like, that's so cruel. And if if they set it up in a way where it's like Joyce also ended up dying because she was protecting Will and Jonathan, I feel like that would actually be really, really good.
Or just Will because she seems to not care about Jonathan. But yeah.
No, she doesn't. I mean, but I do think that could be one of the better options. But I am also just kind of ready for them to like do something, you know? Yeah. Do something that has some sort of like
Do
like,
something.
Do something.
Come on.
And now it also like to the same extent because I thought that Jonathan was Bones for sure. Mm-hmm. Now I'm like, there's no chance because you know how much of a cop out that would be to basically be like,
do it later.
We're gonna act like we're gonna kill Jonathan and Nancy, but now we're just gonna kill Jonathan a few episodes later, like 2 episodes later. I just don't think that. I feel like that would also feel unsatisfying in a way where it's like you kind of had this emotional buildup where your audience is like, my God, Jonathan and Nancy are gonna die. Mm-hmm. To then just kill him later would also feel, I don't think, very...
I could see a scenario because clearly they're going to be climbing the radio tower.
Yeah.
Mirroring the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
I could see a scenario in which instead of Steve doing it, it was Steve's plan, his beanstalk plan. Jonathan instead steps up because... I don't know why he would actually, but because maybe Nancy talked about how Steve's a great guy and he has a vision for his future involving 6 kids, but Steve's not the guy for Nancy. I don't know. I could see maybe him stepping up, but I agree. I don't know that it would feel earned.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to say that because, again, I've made tons of theories, which you know, tons of theory videos. I've gotten about 60 to 65% right, and I've gotten the remainder not right. One of the theories I made was about Jonathan dying.
Yeah.
And so you'd think maybe I'd be in the position of really campaigning for that to happen in the finale, but I'm really not anymore because if he would die, let's say in the way that I just explained with Steve, they haven't set up a dynamic with him and Steve to where Jonathan might feel compelled
Right.
to do that for him. I know they set up a rift between the two characters, but that rift literally hasn't been addressed anymore. It was addressed through Nancy as a conduit through that conversation, but it has not been addressed between him and Steve,
Yeah.
right? There's been no catharsis from that. There's been no follow-up conversation after Steve and Dustin rescued them where Jonathan acknowledges that Steve is not this terrible guy because
Yeah.
Nancy talks about it. It's just kind of brushed aside and ignored, much like a lot of other problems. But
Yeah.
I don't know. The Joyce thing is interesting. I did make a theory about that, weighing
Yeah.
that as a possibility about her. So I don't remember how much you know about the play, but one aspect of the play is also that Henry's mom, rather than showing, because Henry was different,
Yeah. We talked about this. Yeah.
rather than showing Henry unconditional love, she was afraid of him. She was, I believe, abusive to him. And so it could be interesting to have a parallel where Joyce makes some sort of final stand sacrifice to show Henry, to show Vecna, who she also should know,
Right. Which they also still
Haven't
have not
addressed.
addressed. Yeah.
and show him, Will is a parallel of Henry, of course. That's
Right.
very obvious. Show him the power of love essentially by not backing down and being afraid when her son is in danger.
Yeah.
Unlike with Henry, where his mom just threw him to Dr. Brenner.
Yeah.
Again, do I trust that they're actually gonna cook?
Right.
No.
That's the problem,
don't.
is that I just don't think that, like, there's a lot of people out there that I just don't think trusts now where the writing is gonna go. My other person that I actually, maybe this is a hot take, but I actually do think they will probably kill 11. And
Okay.
I say that only because I could see them in their, like, writing be like, it started with her as this main character, besides Will, really.
Yeah. Well,
But
and Henry.
and Henry. We're gonna end it with 11. And also, I do kind of feel like they're teasing it with the Callie situation of her basically being like, let's just go
I hate that, by the way. I hate
kill
that so much.
ourselves.
It's terrible.
Insane. I mean, I don't like her character in general from even season 2. This season, they brought her back, which I wasn't a fan of to begin with. I was not a fan of them bringing her back. That's the most hated episode of all of Stranger Things.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
It's actually
it's
as
no,
of
I
today,
know.
It's lower rated now.
Yeah.
The bridge is lower rated than the
Which
Lost
is
Sister.
crazy. The fact that they bring her back, and then this is what they're gonna do with her character, and then to have 11, who doesn't really have that much connection with Callie,
Yeah.
be like, yeah, you're right. Like, I need to kill myself in order for it to stop. To me, that is, like, so insane. What I really see happening is, they'll defeat the Mind Flare, and then Callie's gonna be like, all right, let's stick to our plan and betray 11 and get 11 killed. And
The traitor.
yeah, I think she will be the traitor for sure. I don't trust her. I don't think anyone does, because how could you?
Yeah.
So I actually will say I can see them also not killing anyone, but I do think that I could really see them killing 11. It also, based off of Millie Bobby Brown's reactions to people being like, how did you like how your character's like story ended, and her really not seeming super thrilled about it, makes me feel like maybe that's what they did. So I don't know. That is a character that I could potentially see getting killed off in the finale.
Interesting. So I half agree about Kali. I think that I didn't like the Lost Sister episode. I did not dislike her coming back because I feel like it would have been a big plot hole to ignore her existence altogether. That being said, I half agree because I hate how they've handled her character.
Yeah.
I don't like what they've done with her. It has felt really weird, and to have her come back And originally, based on interviews where they talked about her return, they said that she would play an instrumental role in finalizing Eleven's arc. But I don't feel that. I don't feel them cooking with that.
You might after she's the reason that 11 dies. That's
Sure, but that's not even like that's not her arc.
No,
That's
I
just
know.
that's just the fate of her character. And so I think I hate how they've basically she came back and I thought maybe she would inspire Eleven's independence, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she would clock some unhealthy dynamics between her and Mike. And that's not just because of Byler. Even if that were to not happen, Mike and Eleven's relationship sucks.
Yeah. No, it does.
Like maybe she would play a role there. Instead, literally every scene she's in, she's kind of just in the background, kind of just like stanced up, looking angry.
Yeah.
And then or not looking angry, but she's just kind of smoldering there in the background. And then she just will make a comment about essentially, you can't have a happy ending, 11. And then that's it. And I'm not saying verbatim, but that is essentially all of her dialogue for the most part, except for the one scene with Hopper where she addressed that Hopper is not telling 11 the truth, which I also hate not because of her, because we've already seen that happen with Hopper in season 2. So why are we going through the same arc again where he's withholding truth from 11? But with Kali, I expected something more interesting. And essentially it is boiled down to, as you just said, we should just end it all.
Yeah.
Because we're never going to have a happy ending, right?
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then for 11, too, just to so easily go along with it when the problem is, it's almost like with what Hopper's pushback was, right? She's trying to argue, Kali, I've known her longer.
Right.
We've never really seen that.
Right.
We've seen one flashback scene of you guys as very, very young kids in the Rainbow Room, where it's like blurry and hazy, it's a dream thing.
Yeah.
You don't see anything else. And then we see the Lost Sister episode.
Yeah.
We don't see history.
Yeah.
So therefore, I don't feel anything when Kali says that. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
So you telling me this doesn't make me feel anything.
Well,
and yeah.
And on top of that, I also just feel like we know that her power is to basically just cast illusions and things that aren't actually there. So part of me is like, how much of what we're being told by her is actually happening? Like, I don't think and also the other issue that I have is they bring up that, okay, they've been stealing Kali's blood for these pregnant women that they're trying to infuse and make more of them. That's a new, plot that they bring up in volume 2. So now you also have to wrap what is going on with that up. I don't know if I believe that that's actually what's happening. I think that that is maybe not exactly what's going on and is probably another way that she's manipulating 11. So,
She's the traitor.
She is a traitor, for sure.
I don't disagree. I just want to add, if it is what's happening, that's also a gaping plot hole because Dr. Brenner had access to 11 for 4 years, which would have given him ample time to take blood and create more for 4 years after Henry took out all of the other numbered children.
Yeah.
So why did that not happen?
Yeah.
Then if that is what's happening now, why did that not happen before? Doesn't make sense. That's a plot hole.
Doesn't make sense.
It's another plot hole on the laundry list of plot holes.
I was going to say, so are we going to talk about all of the millions of plot holes that are happening?
Yes, we should cook. There's so many.
There's so many. And
do you want to start or do you want me to start?
Honestly, you can kick it off. I feel like I ramble so much about this.
So do I.
I'm so bothered by all the plot holes.
Just two yappers yapping about plot holes. So, where to begin? I'll start small. And some of these might seem like nitpicks to me. But really, if you're a good writer, in my opinion, these plot holes shouldn't exist. These inconsistencies and or plot holes shouldn't exist. On the topic of Kali, this is something that bothered me, even though it was a small detail. Why is it that through their initial interaction in this season, where we see Hopper meet Kali. It is discussed as though Hopper knows all about Kali. Him and Eleven have talked about her and Kali's time together and their background together in the lab, and down to verbiage that Kali taught 11, right? We never see that. We've never seen that. They had the opportunity to do that in season 2, and instead, after the Lost Sister episode, that's never addressed.
Yeah.
That to me is at least an inconsistency where you are again telling instead of showing. I don't feel anything when Hopper's like, "You taught her that, right?" Because
Yeah.
we never see that fact that you even knew she existed.
Right.
That's number one. That's one. Number two, addressed it earlier. I hated this so much. I know it's small. I don't care. In Max's eyes, Hopper is not alive.
Yeah.
There is no reaction at all to her seeing him. It's like, oh yeah, it's basically the vibe of like, oh yeah, hey, been a while.
Yeah.
Last you were aware, he was not alive.
Yeah.
So, and it was a big deal when that happened in season 3. That was a big deal. Why is that just brushed aside?
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense to me. Third plot hole, I already addressed this too, but I want to get it out there again. With Jonathan and Nancy, the exotic matter is melting everything around them, all of the matter around them, because that's how it works. Why is it not melting them? We saw the soldiers. That it was a jump scare.
Yeah.
They were half melted because they were in the presence of this thing. So Jonathan and Nancy, what? For some reason, that doesn't happen.
Yep.
Even though they're surrounded by it, even though everything around them is melting, even though they're laying on the ground unconscious, right underneath this thing. That's a plot hole to me. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
That to me feels like a plot hole. You name a few. I have so many. I'm ranting. I have so many.
One of the, I wouldn't even necessarily say it's as much of a plot hole as it's more of like something I just like really have an issue with, but I just don't like that Robin miraculously figures out that Max and Holly are trapped in Henry's mind. There is like nothing that leads up to her actually being able to like figure that out. It was just so that they could move the plot forward, but they didn't actually do any sort of reasoning behind how all of the sudden Robin just knows that that's what's happening and that's where they are. And that's not something that like would be intuitive for her to know either. So to me, I really, really did not like that. And I clocked it immediately. I was like, that makes no sense. It makes literally no sense how you just figured that out. So, I mean, that's one that I have a big issue with. Something, and maybe I just missed this, but so there's this wall
Yeah.
that has been a circle
Yes.
that is,
It's a plot hole. I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
We've just never seen this before until now. Like, the amount of times that they have been in the Upside Down near that same area, and they've never seen a
They've
fucking
never
wall.
seen the wall. If it was always a wormhole, that wall was always there and should have been seen.
Yeah, 100%.
Another plot hole. In season 1, it was established that the spores were toxic to breathe. Now, it's like, let's go on a little day trip.
Yeah.
Day trip to the mall, but the mall is the Upside Down. And I don't like that. That's a plot hole.
Yeah.
They've also made the Upside Down, this is not a plot hole, feel way less scary and intimidating. Not that I was ever terrified of it, but it was a scarier environment. And now it just kind of doesn't seem that way. Mr. Clark just walks in there like, wow. Like, and then he makes the Lord of the Rings reference. And to me, I just feel like that's an inconsistency at the very least that shouldn't exist. Another potential plot hole, and this kind of goes into my mind flayer theories about the finale, but there is an inconsistency with the way time works in the Upside Down, because time is supposed to be frozen. But at the end of season 2, during the snowball dance, the final shot of the show, it flips from the right side up to the upside down, and you see the Mind Flayer looking in on the snowball dance, clearly implying that it is aware of what's happening in the right side up. That doesn't make sense because no, not just that. There's also, the school is also decorated in the upside down
Yeah.
like it's the snowball dance, which doesn't make sense because if time is frozen on the day that it was opened, not just Will was taken, on the day that it was opened by 11, that doesn't make sense. That is a huge plot hole that I thought may have been addressed. I thought they might address it in season 5 with some time explanation.
Yeah.
No. So now it's just a big gaping plot hole.
Something else I've also been seeing a lot of criticism about, which I 100% agree. Mm-hmm. The Demodogs. What is going on? Like, okay, no, you have. They used to literally, they used to destroy people. You also see the Demogorgon in Volume 1 just massacring the entire military. You have 3 Demodogs going for Max and Lucas, and Lucas kicks one, and they're fine. And also, why are they whimpering like Scooby-Doo? Like
the sound effect?
The sound effect. Yeah,
like
I don't know. Like, what are they doing?
No, I agree.
I think that is a crazy plot hole to, like, have them all of the sudden just, like, not actually be that powerful and dangerous. And also, yes, like, Lucas was playing the music. And we're just meant to believe that they're searching around this entire room and they just magically can't find where they are.
I was so frustrated by that because in the whole reason that Bob dies is because a small sound that is made by a broom falling in the closet. Mm-hmm. And they all hear it, and they don't slowly go. They sprint in that direction.
Right.
And brutally take him out.
Yeah.
Lucas is playing Running Up That Hill, and it's loud.
Yeah.
You can hear clearly.
But they're distracted by the can and the...
But not yet.
Yeah.
They're like slowly kind of going about the room. If it was season 2 Demodogs, they would have been sprinting to where that sound is and going ballistic.
Yeah.
I had an issue with that because that doesn't make sense. I did hate the Scooby-Doo. Why? that wasn't cute to me. It makes the Demodog seem less intimidating and more of like a comic relief moment.
Right.
And not something that you should be afraid of.
Yeah.
And then the kick, first of all, not saying this is necessarily an issue. I do think that was shot really weird because I had to rewatch it.
Yeah, you can't really tell what happened. It just looks like he flies back.
Yeah, I thought he hit some sort of invisible, or maybe Will was doing something. I don't know what I thought in that moment, but I was confused to the point where I had to rewind it. And
I
was
agree.
Like, what just happened? The fact that he can just so easily just kick that, and it's not like he kicked it and like went back a foot. No, it like launched back.
Yeah.
Where are the stakes? When I theorized about that moment prior to Volume 1 even, I made my whole entire theory about why the Demodogs were attacking the hospital was all right. And I did not make a theory in that moment necessarily about like how Lucas would escape the elevator scene because we saw that.
Yeah.
Out of everything I did think of though, I did not think a Spartan kick was the solution because that doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Based on what the show has established. I also agree, and I've seen some people push back on this about the Demogorgon inconsistencies. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
To me, Will was not yet controlling the Demogorgons when they attacked the Wheeler house. So why did that Demogorgon just stand there as Karen is hitting it with a wine glass or a broken wine bottle, sorry, and just taking it, just taking the hits and actually being dealt damage when previously like that, but bullets don't work.
Right.
Makes no sense. That is an inconsistency. People can argue with me all day on it. I don't care. That is an inconsistency.
I agree.
It's not even an opinion.
Yeah.
If bullets that are being fired at I don't know how fast, you can't hurt it really, but then
Yeah.
a wine bottle can
Right.
by Karen, middle-aged woman. Just I'm not sure how strong her hit is. Maybe it's strong in that moment, but it can't be strong enough to be stronger than a bullet.
Yeah.
Much less bullets from like 50
Yeah.
military soldiers. It doesn't make sense. And then Demogorgons are famously extremely aggressive.
Right.
And it's just like
Yeah.
taking the hits, and
Yeah.
then it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I was bothered by that too.
And with the Demodogs, they just didn't need to make them portrayed like that for the plot. Like they could have just written it in a different way that they are still vicious and it is still scary without compromising the integrity of like the Demodogs being actually scary and intimidating and vicious.
They took out the whole lab
Yeah.
worth of people,
Yeah.
scientists and soldiers.
Well, and even in like the very first shot where they come into the hospital, they just eat the military man's face.
Yep.
And you're going to tell me that a kick?
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
it
like
just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And I know that, it doesn't always have to, but you're building kind of anxiety for the viewer. It does take away from the fact that you're afraid of them. You're just like, oh, like they're not actually that vicious and terrifying. They're making Scooby-Doo noises.
It cheapens things.
Yeah, for sure.
And removes the stakes.
Yeah.
You only have 5 villains in the show. Or 5. You have the Demodogs, the Demogorgons, the Mind Flayer, Vecna, and the Demobats.
Yeah.
This removes the stakes.
Yeah.
For the Demodogs and for the Demogorgons overall. The Demobats, I'm not even sure if they're going to return. Maybe they will.
Yeah.
But it just makes them feel less scary. It doesn't make sense. It's really inconsistent. It's kind of like, even with the military thing, you're telling me that the military, who has been here for 18 months, they know, based on Dr. K's own words, that heat and fire is the number one way to hurt these things.
Yeah.
And there's one guy who's got a flamethrower. One. There's so many soldiers there.
Yeah.
And you're telling me they put all their budget into guns
That they
when
know.
you know that flamethrowers or fire is the way to take these things out?
Yeah.
That's also an inconsistency
Yeah.
to me, because it's been established. If you made it so that they didn't know,
Right.
and Dr. K didn't clearly say heat,
Yeah.
but then she says, but the cold makes them stronger, whatever she says. If you didn't establish that, then it'd be different. But you did establish that, and so now you have to tell the story by the rules that you created.
Yeah. No,
So-
I agree.
Yeah.
But
There's a lot of plot holes.
there's a lot of plot
There's
holes.
so many. There's a lot. I talked about a lot in my videos. There's just so many. There's so many.
Yeah. And there's just in general, like, again, I think that this is a show that I have always really loved watching. And I did really love Volume 1. I was really excited. I was like, they're getting things right. It wasn't perfect by any means, but I was really enjoying it. And I just feel very let down by Volume 2. Not to say that there weren't great moments, because I think there were, but I just think in general, it didn't have the effect that I think it should have had.
Do you think the show can be saved if the finale is perfect? Genuine. Do you think it can be saved if the finale is flawless as humanly possible? Do you think it can be saved? Or do you think no matter how great the finale is, if it is great, this is just a theoretical question, do you think it's even possible for the entire story of the show to feel great and satisfying after what Volume 2 was?
I think yes. I just don't see that happening because I don't think that they can do that. For it to be perfect, they have to be able to wrap all of this up within really a short amount of time. So I think that if they knocked it out of the park, I would say sure. Yeah, like you can get past some of the plot holes and some of the inconsistencies that they have had in this season. If it's a really great resolution, I think that yes. I just personally don't see that happening.
Yeah. I think I partially agree. The part that I disagree about is I actually don't know if there's any saving the entire show or the season because
Yeah.
it had that big of a negative impact on the story. And even if it was perfect, there's no way it's going to be able to perfectly wrap up everything,
Yeah.
like you're saying. But even if it was as good as it could possibly be, given what we've now been given where they've written themselves,
Yeah.
I don't know that you can save it because they dropped the ball with so many things
They did. Yeah.
that it feels like there's it will still feel incomplete.
Yeah. I do agree. I think I'm more willing to kind of almost like forgive if it's like that good where I'm like I feel satisfied with what they were able to accomplish. I think I could probably try and look past a lot that I didn't like, but I don't disagree that it doesn't take away from the fact that volume 2 and honestly maybe the entirety of season 5 was rushed, was not, in my opinion, very well thought out. Why are we, again, if you know that you have limited time to accomplish everything that you're trying to accomplish, why are you going to use up so much screen time on characters like Holly?
Yep.
Not that I don't like Holly, but you're using a lot of screen time on Holly. You're using a lot of screen time on Robin. And then you have we haven't talked about this yet, and we can briefly talk about it.
Okay.
You have the horrendously long scene of Max and Holly leaving Vecna's mind. Okay, you can't come with me. This is my body. We're gonna have an entire
A whole podcast episode.
a whole
I saw someone say that.
No, literally, I've seen the memes of them like editing where it looks like they're having a podcast, literally an entire podcast episode. And also, it doesn't actually drive what I think they were trying to drive because we've already seen Max get there and she gets so close, and then like Vecna shows up and
Yeah.
that's it. But
Right.
we don't need to do that. We don't need to like have some anticipation building of like oh no, are they gonna make it? Why are you having this long ass conversation about leaving? And it just, again, takes away time that they could have been using. I just feel like there was a lot of very long conversations that could have been shortened to use towards more plot building, and that actually would have like driven this show where I think it needed to go. So I don't disagree that it doesn't make everything that happened in this season okay, but I think that because I have in general loved this show, as I know you have, that I feel like if they do it justice and bring things to a close in a way that feels like, okay, they maybe didn't get a perfect last season, but at least they finished it in a way that most people can feel satisfied, I think that would be an accomplishment. I just don't think that that's what's going to be happening. I think most people are going to be extremely disappointed in the ending.
I fear I agree. I wish I wasn't saying that.
No, me
I
too.
hate being pessimistic about shows. It's not like that it would ruin the experience of watching the entire show for me. It's not that it would ruin the entire show. It's that this show will never be able to be as good as it should have been. The story will feel incomplete in a way that, to me, again, I haven't seen the finale, of course.
Yeah.
So I'd like to be totally wrong. I would love nothing more than to finish seeing it in theaters and feel great about what I just watched and the experience that I just witnessed, the experience of experiencing the story. I just don't know. I just don't trust the Duffer Brothers anymore, and Sean Levy, who has gone on to overhype Volume 2, and no, that's also like a number one rule.
Yeah.
Don't overhype something
right. And
to that degree.
And that's also like back to the point of why like everyone's upset that no one's died, because they're overhyping. It's going to be There's going to be deaths. It's going to be very like emotional and dramatic and dark. And we haven't gotten any of that. It wasn't like people were going in thinking that that's what was going to happen. People went in thinking that was going to happen because that is what we were told. So it got overhyped, and now you have a bunch of people that are disappointed because that is what you told them to expect. So
Yeah.
it's not like people are making things up out of nowhere with no reasoning. And so I do think that I'm not very confident that they
Neither
are
am
going
I.
to be able to do it, but we'll see.
We will see. I think, yeah, a couple of things to address, and then I'll make a transition point into the Byler conversation because there's something that I want to address there too with how they've talked about things
Yeah.
outside of the evidence for that in the show. But with Holly, for example, you talked about that. I believe it was just also confirmed that she did have more screen time, more runtime than any of the main characters in Volume 2.
Yeah.
By far. And also has had more screen time than any of the main characters in the entire season, I think.
Yeah.
I could be wrong about that part, but I
It
think,
wouldn't shock me.
and I think her name is Nell Fisher, and I think she's doing a fantastic job.
Oh, for
I
sure.
think her performance is actually shockingly like one of the better performances in the season. I love her character, actually. It does feel strange. My worry, and again, this is a pessimistic point of view, but the Duffers did just confirm not only is there that spin-off animated show, but there is going to be a spin-off live action show. And I don't know if it's going to include her, but I'm worried that they decided we're going to give this character a lot of screen time this final season because she's going to be the main character of the spin-off. I'm not saying that's confirmed. That
Yeah.
is totally speculation territory, but
No, it definitely could be.
again, and this goes back to I love Holly this season. But
Yeah.
if you'd made the run times longer, you could have had Holly have this amount of time dedicated to her character and what she is contributing to the story, and you could have also not taken away from the other characters to where it feels more balanced. It feels like you are bringing the characters who this show is all about, their arcs, their stories to a clean close.
Yeah.
With the Byler thing, outside of all of the evidence that I feel very strongly about, having found myself in the show, and I know there are many others that have found probably even more, you also have interviews where I believe in 2024, there's literally an interview where Noah Schnapp says, yeah, I guess you never really could tell if it was a really special friendship or something more and romantic.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. If you're not going to do it, why would you even say that? If it's not even on the table,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not going to happen in the finale. I still believe it can. Why? Why do
Yeah.
we say that? The painting thing. Finn said that will come full circle in the final season.
Yeah.
Is it though? Is it going to? Because now a part of my theory is that it could. But will it?
Yeah.
Because there were other important things from season 4, like Max's letters. We never saw anything happen with her letters. She
Yeah.
did die, and that's what those letters were for. And we
Right.
never
It's true.
addressed it. We don't know what those letters were. We don't know what was in them.
Yeah.
We never got to see the characters reading them, and we should have. We probably
Yeah.
should have seen that happen.
For sure.
So that it would build. Let's say there was a letter for Will. It would build then some connection there.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that. So I can't imagine them not addressing the painting now
Yeah.
that Mike knows
Yeah.
the truth about Will. But I also, at the same time, like you're saying, I've lost faith.
I'm not like a Byler shipper. I see it. I see what everyone is talking about for sure.
She sees the sauce.
I see it
She
now.
sees it.
Because when you first told me, I was like, all right, sure. But I looked at it again, especially in this season. I see it. Do I think it's going to happen? Probably not. But not because it wasn't real or like, I think just because even if they were to do it, I don't think they would do it justice. Like, I think that they wouldn't be able to execute it in a way at this point in the series that I feel like would have any meaningful connection between the two characters. And that's my problem. Because for people that are Malevolent fans or even if you're just not in either camp, if you're not looking for the Will and Mike connection and that just happens in the season finale, if you're just a general viewer, you'd probably be like, what the fuck? Like, you probably wouldn't be able to see what had happened if you're not looking for it or like looking out for it, because not everyone is watching things and necessarily like analyzing them.
I know.
So I think that is also my concern of like, even if they did it, there's probably a very big portion of the audience that would not even understand like where any of it came from, because even though it wouldn't feel that shocking to me and like I'd be like, oh yeah, like been seeing it,
Yeah.
there's probably a lot of people that would be like, where did this come from? You know? So that's also like a concern that I think I have, is that I think they could have done it and I think they probably were leading to it, but I don't think they did it well.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my Byler hot take for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a hot take necessarily, at least in my opinion, because I do recognize, while I am firmly on the side of it should happen, there's
Yeah.
so much. It's one of those things where like once you see it, once you do the analysis and you see it and you see the way they constantly parallel Mike and Eleven's relationship to Mike and Will's relationship, and they paint Mike and Eleven's relationship in a less than savory way, and Mike and Will is always the light. It's always
Yeah.
the bright side of that parallel. I do believe the majority of the people who watch the show, the general audience, would probably think it's out of left field. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
And I do think a lot of people would not like it. I think a lot of people would have a problem with it because of that. The thing that I really agree with though is I believe it can happen in the finale, and I've talked about that, and I just made a theory video about it, and I'm making more about it before the finale happens. I see a way in which it makes perfect sense, in which it could be really well done and make perfect sense. And the problem that I have is, like you're saying, in order for that to happen, in order for it to happen in a way that feels satisfying, they cannot mess up even for a second. And
Yeah.
I don't trust that.
Yeah.
Like I made the theory. And the theory is, I briefly touched on it earlier, and I have a couple of others, but essentially through the final confrontation where Mike and Will are going to be there and Vecna is going to probably try to, well, the Mind Flayer is going to technically try to pull Will fully into the darkness in that fight, right? It's like a mind fight.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, have you seen X-Men Days of Apocalypse?
Yeah. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
fight with Xavier
Here.
and Apocalypse inside of his mind,
Yeah.
where at first you think Xavier is, you know, this is the comeback moment.
Yeah.
We're in the final moments of the movie, but then Apocalypse just beats him down, and it's crazy. I could see something like that going on,
Yes.
and there then being Mike being a part of that, and there being a revelation about Mike's perspective and Mike's feelings, because Mike would be vulnerable if he is not told the truth about his feelings. And then, of course, if that happens in the epilogue, that would for sure prompt a conversation between the two of them about what Will just saw through what Vecna saw, and the painting could get addressed, and Byler could happen. And it makes sense. The issue, again, is, number one, the show is not just about Byler. The show is about a lot of different things, all of which have to be wrapped up in the final episode. And there's 1 hour and 28 minutes of plot-related runtime and 40 minutes of epilogue time, according to the rumors. And that does make sense. That does track with the end of Avengers Endgame. After Tony snaps, you have a long epilogue after that, where you have the funeral, you have the speech to Morgan Stark, his daughter, where you get the final "I love you 3000." You get the moment between Clint and Wanda talking about how like they know because Natasha's not there and Vision's not there. You get the entire, where it shows the whole world celebrating. That you go to Wakanda, you see Scott and Hope outside of their house, fireworks going off everywhere. And then you get the finale with Steve going back in time to return the stones. You see him not come. You get the final moment with him and Bucky. You see him not return. conversation with Sam on the bench, and then you get the dance with Peggy back in time. It's a long epilogue, and it makes sense for that story. So I do believe we're getting that long of an epilogue because it makes sense for Stranger Things. Problem is, that means you have an hour and 28 to establish a lot of different things, including, as they've already confirmed, Henry's entire backstory, his redemption arc, because he's going to have one. Some people don't think that, and I'm like,
no, I think for sure, 100%.
He's going to have one, and if you don't like it, okay, fine. I'm in the position of he didn't have autonomy over anything he's been doing. He's been completely corrupted for 30 years. We saw what that did to Will after 1 week in season 2. Of course, what he did is not his fault if he doesn't have control over his mind and body. That's not his fault. But the problem is, again, they have to wrap all that up.
Right.
So I feel like unless they're extremely efficient with their use of time, every second counting, I feel like it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Like, or at least not in a way that it feels good. I feel like, and we've discussed this, Legend of Korra, the ending, Korrasami, them getting together in the final 30 seconds.
Yep.
I feel like that, if it does happen,
It's going to be like that.
It's going to be something more in that realm.
Right.
Which I don't think is going to feel good.
No, and
I think
even
it's not going to feel satisfying.
When that happened in Legend of Korra, people didn't like it because they're like, where did this come from?
Yes.
And so it's going to be, I think, the same thing where if it did happen, it probably would happen like that. And it's going to be dissatisfying for even probably people that do ship Byler. That's going to be really unsatisfying for the audience. And so I almost kind of hope that it doesn't happen just because I don't think they can do it right, which is maybe pessimistic, but I just think that I personally think that they're going to end up going down a path where it's going to be like Steve, Jonathan, and Nancy, where it's going to be like, I do think that Mike and Eleven will probably break up because how could they not?
Bones.
For sure. But then it's going to be like, maybe it's just they do the same thing where it's like, oh, everyone's just, they have a good breakup, they do another breakup scene, and then they call it a day. And that is what happens. Like, I could see that for sure. Would that be satisfying? Probably not. But would it be more satisfying than like a half-assed Byler connection in the last, 10 minutes? Probably.
Perhaps.
So that's my take. That is my take.
Perhaps. That is where we disagree.
I know I'm talking to...
I still want it to happen.
Yeah.
I would rather have it happen than not happen. And the main reason is not just because obviously I ship them after having done the analysis. It's just because if it doesn't happen, all of the evidence that I found, which it's not just a bias, it's there. That evidence is there.
Oh, for sure.
If you study film or filmmaking, there is no reason for parallels like that to exist and all the details that are in those scenes to exist if it's not pointing in that direction.
Right.
The problem that I have is that if it doesn't happen, all of that goes completely to waste because some people will say, well, it helped Will with his self-acceptance arc. My whole analysis was about Mike because we already know that Will's gay. So I focused on Mike. All of the evidence is mainly focused on Mike.
Yeah.
And so it has no role in Will's self-acceptance arc. It only would have a role in a Mike self-acceptance, Mike coming out, Mike having feelings for Will arc.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense otherwise. And so to me, that's a lot of work that was put into placing these breadcrumbs throughout the entire show that would then mean nothing. It would have no meaning.
Yeah.
It would lose meaning. And then you run into, that was a waste of time. All of that was a waste of time. Why does it exist? It doesn't make sense. Whereas in Marvel, and I'm comparing it because obviously a huge Marvel fan, I'm not someone who's going to sit here and say, oh, they knew everything they were going to do from day one. But the Russo brothers, while they have their faults with their own movies, are really good at looking back at what came before and making sure that as much as possible had purpose. So I'm sure when they filmed The Avengers and you have the scene where Thor hits Tony with the lightning and he gets charged up and it's like, power at 400%, so whatever. And then he's like, how about that? And then he hits it back. I'm sure when they wrote that and they filmed it, it wasn't originally planned for that, one day that's going to come full circle and Tony's going to make a evolution in one of his suits where he has it set up to where he can absorb a shot like that from Thor and put it to good use.
Right.
That wasn't planned, but the Russo brothers looked back at that and they didn't let that moment go to waste. They didn't let the little nudge of Mjolnir in Age of Ultron go to waste. They didn't let the line of Bruce Banner saying, he made the comment in the Avengers movie when he's talking with Tony, and Tony says, "Well, I guess we'll find out." When he says, like, he's bringing up maybe you were made for something more. Maybe this was for something. This happened because of something more. They could have just not let that go anywhere, but they made sure that it had meaning in the end. On Your Left from Winter Soldier probably was not intended to be this big thing. They made it one of the biggest things.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah.
All of those things, those breadcrumbs in Marvel and the MCU, are significantly smaller than all of the breadcrumbs for the Byler evidence happening, for Byler happening. They're smaller. So to see a scenario where all of that
Was for nothing.
was for literally nothing.
Yeah.
Will actually make me crash out. And it's not even because I want Byler to happen. It's simply, I would say the same thing if those breadcrumbs existed for Mike and 11.
Right.
I would say the same thing. I used to be on that side of the table.
Yeah.
And I would be saying the same thing right now. If Mike and 11, if their relationship was in question, but there was all of this evidence in support, I'd be saying the same thing. I don't like when stories ignore everything they've established. That's like such a pet peeve. It really takes me out.
Yeah.
It takes me out of the story. So that's my ramble. I think it can happen. I have theories as to how it could happen. I have serious concerns and doubt about it happening in a way that feels satisfying. And I do agree that if it does, it's more likely than not going to, I want to be wrong about this, but it's more likely than not going to err on the side of a Korrasami type of reveal where they play it super safe for general audiences, least amount of, like, they save it for the last minute, towards the very end of the epilogue even.
Yeah.
And to minimize how upset general audiences are, but to still make that evidence make sense.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree that I think that it would feel like a waste, and then why would you do it, you know? I just, again, feel like if they do it, it's going to be done very rushed, because it also has to be, because they don't have a lot of time. So even if they do it, it's going to be rushed. And maybe it is in the epilogue. I could see that. But I do think that I also could just see them going, well, we're going to just have Mike and 11 break up, and Mike will be Will's Tammy, and we'll call it a day.
And Will gets an epilogue boyfriend that has been a rumor for a while as well.
Yeah,
I
mean, if that happened, I'd be like, that would drive me crazy. But
it's been a rumor. There's somebody that's been cast in the finale in the epilogue. His character name is Carlton. First of all, what kind of name is that?
Fresh Prince.
I know that, but I just think, like, I've never in my life met someone named Carlton. Regardless, I know. People have pointed that out. There is someone that has been cast as,
I didn't know that,
rumored to be epilogue boyfriend, but not for, it doesn't say for who.
Yeah.
What if it's for 11, guys? And not for Will? If it's for Will, and like,
what if it's for Mike?
Spencer talked about this. Shout out Spencer. That Spencer said he would crash out if it's, I think he said he would crash out. He was clearly heated about it. And I agree. But Spencer said, watch it be the case where literally Mike wingmans Will with Carlton. The worst possible outcome.
Generational crash out.
I would have a generational crash out as well.
I think I'm in a generational crash out, so. Same.
I mean, that was
this entire podcast was just a crash out.
It was a crash out. It was.
But that's okay.
It's okay. There are some positives.
There's some good things. There's a little hint of positive, but we'll watch
Stephen Dustin.
And and that's that's about it. But we're gonna go watch the finale
in the theater,
and then we'll film our next podcast episode
right after,
and
hopefully it's not terrible and negative, but it might be.
Again, we'll see you after the finale, and we'll give you our thoughts.
And we'll have a podcast name by then, I hope. because we don't have one yet.
We will have a podcast name in a week.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
That's it.
That's it.
Thank you for watching.
Thanks for watching.